Hi everybody and welcome to the introduction of our trim coating system. One of the first products you're going to see in our system is an actual trim cleaner. This was an important part of starting our trim coating system. One of the things we felt has been missing is a proper way to clean and prep the trim prior to installing your trim ceramic coating. So let's go over a few things that people normally do. People normally, every time they go to do something with the trim, they see that it's dirty, they see that it's oxidized, they may do a few things: alcohol, all-purpose cleaners, or even an all-in-one type of polish that they think restores the trim. And let's talk through those things. When you use alcohol, that can actually white out and make things less receptive to a trim coating. Not every trim responds negatively to alcohol, but a large majority of them do, especially when you get into some older vehicles. All-purpose cleaners, because they vary so widely in what is used as the raw ingredients, you can have things that completely burn trim very quickly, making it less receptive to things like trim coating, or you can leave things in the coating, suds, different types of contaminants, and what happens then is you can't get a proper bond with the coating. Part of the thing that's happened with trim coating in my career is that we've just said, hey, clean it with some soap, clean it with some APC, then go lay your trim coating on top of it. We have a specially formulated trim cleaner that makes it so you know you're going to get a perfect bond with your trim coating. Now, I realize this is a very specialty product, but I think it solves a huge issue. First of all, when you use an all-in-one type of polish, which a lot of guys do to remove oxidation, most all-in-ones have a carnauba base to them. Whether they say that they're ceramic, infused, whatever, there's usually some type of carnauba emulsion in it, and that leaves a ton of oil behind. Oil is not going to play very well with your trim coating. And so this cleaner is used in a very specific way. It's going to help remove oxidation, light oxidation. It's going to help remove any oils, anything like that. It's not going to burn trim like something like alcohol or APC might do. But one of the great things about this is it's very, very, very simplistic chemistry. It's hard to make this product, but it's very easy to understand. All we're trying to do is remove the dirt, the oil, the grime in a safe manner. That will give us the perfect place to lay our trim coating on. Now we're just laying it on direct trim. We're not laying it on top of oxidation, on top of something like carnauba through an all-in-one polish that we used, or any of that nature. This is going to leave a perfectly naked surface that's going to allow our coating to bond. And if you really want to restore faded type of trims, you need something like this trim cleaner to help you out. So let's go through what I'm going to have. Got a couple of our workaholic towels to first clean and prep the surface. And I just have a couple leveling towels here and an applicator. Okay. So if we look at that and we say, why don't you have some kind of plush towel to level? Because actually what you want to do with our trim coating is you want to let it soak in. There's really, really very little need to ever go back and level. There may be some high spots and things like that that you can go back and say, well, this isn't soaking it up as well. This one's maybe soaked up all the product it can soak up. You go and take a little bit of the high spot out, it leaves a perfect finish. So you don't want to take a big high GSM towel and possibly remove good coating off the trim. You want to let the trim coating soak in. So this is a very easy system, but this trim cleaner is the key to our system. It's not just use whatever cleaner you want and slap this over top of it. That has been, to me, something I haven't liked in my career and something that we fixed with our system with our trim cleaner. So let's go ahead and get started and bring you in. All right, we're going to bring you in on the running board. This plastic is pretty faded. This is a 22-year-old vehicle. We specifically picked this vehicle so we wouldn't be restoring some type of new trim to coat it. But obviously our system works fantastic if you just want to coat new cars. But we want to kind of show you the capability and different things like that. So first part of our system is pretty simple. You take the trim cleaner and you'll see it kind of comes out white. Okay. It's a unique formula, and you want to make sure it's not a big deal if you get it on paint or different things like that. It's safe for everything. But what we're doing is we're trying to strip the surface, and you can see that we're pulling off quite a bit of grime, taking any type of oxidation off. It does have just a tiny slight bit of abrasive in it, which allows it to kind of take any oxidation off, but the abrasive does not have, it doesn't have any protection in the formula, and that's probably the start of the problem. So you guys can see, if you were to just lay trim coating over that, you would get a less of a bond. Your trim coating will last less, all that kind of stuff. And so let's go ahead and go to the back here. I want to get more in here. Get some of this around the emblem. There's actually a lot of plastic right here, and it's a great lot of little grooves. No need to use like a brush or anything, just be thorough. I mean, look, just go along the back, wipe up any excess, get the corner all the way down. And I know it's going to be tough to pick up on camera, but what we have now is a nice flat prepped area. If you were to use something like APC, if you were to use things like that, one of the things you would see is it wouldn't be this flat and uniform, and that's where the trim cleaner comes in. And again, if you're just trying to clean up your trim and you don't even want to have a coating put on, this is one of those things that will absolutely help you with the prep. To me, this has been missing in the coating of trim a long time. So let's go ahead and start laying some coating. As long as the surface is dry, which this is, dry to the touch, we're good to go. So when you're using trim coating, one of the first things I tell people, soak down the pad. Do not worry about over applying a trim coating, worry about not applying enough. So I'm going to get a good amount on there. Just go nice and slow. Make sure you wrap around the edge. And you can see in person this 22-year-old trim just absolutely soaking up the coating very, very quickly. So one of the things you're going to have to do in some cases here is you're going to have to apply more. This wouldn't happen, let's just say you had a new Bronco or something with a lot of trim like that. You wouldn't have to, go ahead and apply more. But this is soaking up so much coating that I want to lay even more on there because it is just soaking it up. And this is pretty normal for a 22-year-old vehicle to soak all of this up the way that it has. We have a lot of ridges in here. And notice that I'm not rushing to level anything. And I probably will not level this coating at all because of how old this car is. There's a real far back piece here I just want to make sure that I want to get even more into this system. And like I said, I'm pretty particular that I like to lay, especially on these types of old cars, lay a lot here, okay? And I'll bring you in and show you the difference. Again, I'm pretty thorough, especially on aged trim, of putting a good amount of product on. I have not leveled anything. And there is no reason with our trim coating, but I would say most trim coatings, a lot of people just level too much. They don't understand. This coating is meant to soak in, so we want to make sure that we soak it in. And this is a great, simple way to get it coated. And you'll be able to see a lot more when I do the door pillars, but this is a great place to start. So I'll just monitor this while I go and coat other things. All right, gonna go here and go ahead and do one door here, and I'm gonna leave this one so you can see each one individually. So I'm gonna put some in my towel. I'm not worried that I got it on the glass because I'm gonna go back and clean the glass. I'm doing this just to make sure that I have prepped the trim. That's the big concern here. I am applying just a little bit of pressure. You know, it's not just a simple, you know, wipe it on. I am pushing down just a little bit because, like I said, there's a tiny bit of abrasive in here. Look at that. Hopefully you can see that. Now, if you went to try to coat over this, and remember, this glass stuff I'll clean up. This is perfectly safe for glass, but if you try to coat over this, like a lot of people, you know, just say, well, put our coating on and it'll restore it. You're not going to be able to restore the trim very well doing that, right? So I want to make sure that I get down into this door trim. I want to make sure that I prep this surface well. And again, this is a 22-year-old car. Okay, this isn't a brand new. This would go much quicker if you were doing a new car. We are not, so we want to be a little bit more thorough, right? So I'm going to go back and I'm just going to buff this off. And you can see in person very easily. I got some overspray here. That'll clean up. You can see in person what we've had is we've now removed some oxidation. You can see that this is ready to accept the coating, and it's just a ton of grime, right? And so we go ahead and clean the other one. That way I know it's done. Just wanted you guys to see the difference. Go ahead and do this back. I mean, it's just gnarly. So what'll happen is just give it some time to kind of dry out. Good thing is we've already brought some of the gloss back to the pillar just by using this. So what you'll see in these spots that you'll see is that it'll accept coating even better. You see you have kind of like an uneven look because these were such damaged plastics. It's hard to catch that on camera sometimes, but removing all that oxidation, what we want to do is we want to take it back to as natural as we can, and sometimes that's going to leave, you know, some splotchiness with the cleaner, but that'll all be very, very receptive to the coating. So we'll bring you back in as we start to lay the coating on this. All right, now we're going to start laying the coating. So when you see some of this unevenness, remember every little part of this was oxidized a bit differently. So when we started to remove some of the oxidation on this old trim, you're going to see some blotchiness sometimes with the cleaner. You won't see that very much on newer trim, but you will see it on older trim, right? So one of the things that we want to do here is we want to be very clear that you may see on this is old Lexus trim, which has always been pretty poor. And so now I'm going to go in with our coating, and this is going to be laid on pretty heavy because I have a heavily oxidized. I'm just doing this, sorry for the camera. I want to make sure that I get everything I can. And I'm laying this on extremely thick because I have a heavily oxidized situation here. We removed the oxidation with our cleaner, We have a little bit of trim over here we want to get. Sorry if I'm out of camera. Okay. Make sure we lay it nice and even. Now I'm going to go back with a leveler towel. And I'm going to make sure none of this is on the glass. Doesn't matter if it is on the glass, it comes off really simple. I just want to take it off the glass, that way we don't have any polishing to do or anything like that. Okay, so I'm going to take the rest that I have, I'm going to lay it on this window trim here. And hopefully it's coming up on camera. This is really easy to work with. Notice I'm just taking very normal strokes. If I feel like I need to go back over it, I will. Not leveling it in a hurry to level it. So you see on this side we have blotchiness from removing that oxidation, but look, when we started to lay, I'm just going to take my towel back in here and get any excess coating off the paint. It's perfectly safe. It's not going to do anything, but I don't want to have to try to get a polisher in here or anything. So I just pick up anything that I can. I'll do the same on the glass. And now we wait. So what I'll do is, it's going to be kind of boring sitting here watching this, whatever, but I'm not going to wipe it. I'm just going to see how it lays. And I'll bring you back in when it's finished. Hopefully you can see it. Our coating's sweat. You can actually still see it sweating on this. I'm going to let it keep going. It's still soaking in. I'm hoping you guys can see that it will sweat, and if you want to go ahead and level, you can, but I'm going to let this continue to soak in. You have to make that call. All right, guys, I'm going to try to show you how I would level it if I was going to level. I'm just going to take a very slow pass. Okay? Just very slow. Not trying to get crazy. And there's what's left behind. Fully oxidized trim, now back to natural. Okay. Even if you were going to do these pillars, just go straight down. Very slow. It's very simple. And now you got perfectly restored natural trim. I have a car on a lift here, but I want to show everybody you can do this without a lift, obviously. We're going to clean all this up using our trim cleaner. Now, look at that, trying to coat over that. I know everybody's thinking is, oh, my APC and this and that. This has got a little bit of abrasive and cleaner, which allows to remove the oxidation without leaving anything behind in the plastic that'll interfere with the coating, which has been a big issue with coating since I started using trim coating. All right, I'll bring you back when it's completely ready to be coated. All right, guys, this has been completely prepped. I'm getting under the car here, so sorry if the sound's a little off, but you'll see some what looks like uneven spots. That's just where maybe there's more oxidation, things that we removed there, but it's ready to receive coating. And again, I'm trying to do this on camera, guys, so I apologize if it's not as even as I would normally do it. It's hard to kind of do it beside the camera, but I'm going to do my best here. And probably on this piece of plastic there won't be very much leveling, to be honest with you, because it's pretty beat up. And so let me check my application here. As you can see, 22 years old. I didn't want to show you our trim system on brand new trim. That's pretty simplistic to handle. So I'm just going to go back, kind of even it, because I wouldn't do this unless I was on camera, guys. It makes it a little bit more difficult. So I'm going to go ahead and let this soak in. You can already see it starting to sweat just a little bit, which is a sign that it's setting up. So we go ahead and just let it set up, and I'll bring you guys back after I've leveled it. But hopefully you guys can see the kind of even sweating. It takes a little longer. This is a little bit more of a flat piece up here. Just trying to bring you in where you can see it. All right, we'll let it set up, and notice for a really old plastic how even, it may be hard to catch on camera, how even this laid down. That was the trim cleaner. Because a lot of times when you go and it's not been prepped properly, or you use something with a carnauba base or an APC, you'll see a lot of unevenness. The trim cleaner allows it to lay even, which gives you a better finished product. So I'll bring you guys in when I'm done. All right, guys, gonna go ahead and level. It's pretty easy, just long swipes for 22-year-old mud flaps. That looks pretty good. Again, could they just be replaced? Yeah, I'll probably do that. Sorry, I just bumped the camera again. But look how even. Hopefully it's coming across on camera. Not doing anything quick, just kind of wiping any excess. But what this has allowed us to do by prepping it properly is we've gotten this, let me try to get the light in here a little bit more. We've gotten this to lay really flat, which is nice. Which is hard to do on something that's 22 years old. Just kind of want to show you guys. Just trying to get the light in there for you. Nice and flat. Not the most professional skills there with the camera. Just a great experience. All started by the trim cleaner. 22-year-old mud flaps. Pretty excited. Guys, thanks for coming along with our introduction to our new trim coating system. I want to show this to all of you. Look at the dirt on this towel. This is our workaholic towel. We cleaned up the trim with our trim cleaner. Without this, and this is why it took us a little while to bring our trim system out, without this part of the trim system, I think you're going to run into a lot of issues, as many of us have over the year, by trying to use something homemade, alcohol solution, APC, all of these different, even an all-in-one, which I think are very, very problematic if you're going to coat trim, because most of those have a carnauba base, whether they say it or not. That's how they get it to mix together. They can add some ceramic fortification, but again, if you want to apply a trim coating, you've always needed this product. We're very, very happy with this product. This product has probably been the last year or so that we've been working on this, and I think it's very important to kind of go back to the towel and let you know this is why. Imagine trying to coat over this. It's just not going to work. You're not going to get the longevity. You're not going to get the durability. So with our system, there's a couple things I want to do with this video. I use it on a 22-year-old car. You know, if you want to coat a brand new Lambo, a brand new Porsche, a brand new Bronco, a brand new Jeep, system works fantastically. But I also think we needed to show you working on a vehicle that has a bunch of oxidation, kind of cheap trim, because trim, you know, back then it did, especially for Toyota and Lexus, didn't really last, didn't really stand up to the elements. So I specifically wanted to use this. You guys will get this in our normal can. Okay, it'll come with an applicator inside, a 50 ml bottle, and you can buy it with a trim kit with our trim cleaner in this. Obviously, if you already buy our trim cleaner, you know, you can just keep refilling and going back and ordering trim. You don't need to order a new one of these every time. But for those of you that want to have your trim on your own car, or you want to do things really to the next level for your customers, if you're a professional, I don't think you should have a trim coating without some type of trim prep. That'd be like having ceramic coatings for paint and no paint prep like our white product. We weren't going to do that. So I hope all of you enjoy our trim coating. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm doing my best, guys. I'm not feeling very great, if you can hear by my voice, but thank you all for all the support. If you have any questions, email info@hypercleanstore.com. We'd be happy to answer all of those questions.